Hello and welcome to Tarot Talk. Today I am delighted to welcome a new deck creator, Grace Celine. She's a professional tarot reader, she's a tarot instructor, she's a writer, and she's been practicing tarot as a tool for transformation for mindfulness, self-reflection, and personal growth for more than 13 years. She's the creator and the author behind the Moon Tarot on social media and the popular e-newsletters, Today's Energy Reading and This Week's Energy Reading, with over 1 million readers across the globe. Grace has helped thousands of people improve their lives through self-discovery, spiritual guidance, and personal growth that the lessons of tarot provide. And now she's created a lovely new deck on Kickstarter called the Drifting Moon Tarot. Welcome, Grace. I'm delighted to have you
Thank
here
you.
today.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
I'm excited to talk with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to tarot.
Well, I found tarot, or I guess I should say tarot found me, at a time in my life where I was very disconnected from myself, from my emotions. I was very lost and kind of just doing the day-to-day thing that I was told to do, to have a job 9 to 5. And just to work. And I lost this creative side to myself and the intuitive side of myself. So there was a time where I had a traumatic incident, a car accident, and that what followed that was just even more of this disconnect with myself. And tarot found me through a coworker of mine at the time, and the first time I even saw the cards or had a reading, it just lit up that spark that was in my gut. Like I felt connected and curious, and I knew that there was something in the cards that could lead me home to myself, at least chisel away something where I could figure out what I'm supposed to do next, because I knew where I was not it for me. So I began practicing with the cards. I went home that night and I found a deck that I could use on Etsy, and I just began every day pulling a card. And the the book, it's there was no book that came with the deck that I purchased, so I just kind of had to Google things, but there wasn't that much on the internet at the time either. So there was a lot of self-discovery and making my own meanings, and just a relationship with the symbolism and with the cards and with myself and the patterns that I was seeing day by day, journaling, looking at it, that really transformed my life. I was just led in a new direction. I was listening to a different part of myself, and it ultimately, many years later, has evolved to pulling the card a day, doing what I do now every day. So it's just been a life-changing journey.
That's fantastic. It's amazing how tarot can really help us to reach into those places that we modern society tends to not value and to encourage us sometimes to even suppress, and how important it is to get back into touch with those. So that's a wonderful
Mhm.
journey. What prompted you to decide to create a tarot deck?
I was approached by illustrator Lee White. He has been doing illustrations he's been teaching for 20 years at a college level, illustrations, and he also has published over 25 different books. And this is a creative project that he's been wanting to do for quite some time. And his intuition has led him to begin creating the deck. And at that time, he reached out to me and asked if I could lead him, guide him with tarot, more of the expertise of the cards, just sort of the rules and whatnot of tarot and the story. And together, with his illustrations and my art through words, we're coming together and creating the Drifting Moon Tarot, which is very whimsical. It takes his expertise with writing child's stories, and there's just a connection to the inner child, the just wonderful wonder of life and the path that tarot can take you on.
It's absolutely a beautiful deck. I bought one on Kickstarter myself because I always have loved
Oh,
children's illustration. Oh yeah, because you can't have too many tarot decks, right? And
absolutely.
I've always loved, children's books and children's illustrations, and these just are very, like you said, whimsical and just tug at my little heartstrings. I absolutely love this deck. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
It's
Um,
beautiful.
it is beautiful. Are you fully funded on Kickstarter now?
We are fully funded. We were fully funded within 2 hours.
Wow,
So
that had to
it's
feel good.
it feels really good. Our main goal was to get enough funding to make this is a major arcana deck, and we wanted to do the complete deck. And we just announced yesterday that we are going forward with the full deck. So we're super excited about that.
That is fantastic.
I
That will be
know.
a huge accomplishment, and that's a big
Mhm.
undertaking to create a 78 card deck. That's a lot of artwork.
It is. Yes.
How wonderful. That's very, very exciting. So, what would you say was the most challenging part of the process?
I think the most challenging part of the process so far is, I guess, putting it all together. There are so many different pieces and parts, and you can say this with like each card of tarot as well. There's just so many different pieces of symbolism and parts that you want to fit together. And it's sometimes you look at the end goal, like with Kickstarter, you need to have an end goal in mind. And then when you get to the creation, all the little pieces and parts, they fall together when they need to, as they need to in divine order. However, when you're playing the Kickstarter, you want to know everything already in advance, what the cards are going to look like, how many, the price, the this, the that. So I think it's just caused us to be very flexible, and it's really allowed us to connect with the people who are backing the project as well, and we can create it together. So I think it's a huge challenge to do it that way. However, it's going to make it so much better, and it already is making it so much more fun for everyone who's involved.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
If do you have favorite cards in the deck? What are your three favorite cards?
Well, my favorite card is the moon. Um, I love the moon. The moon tarot, right? Um, one of a piece that really inspires me, it's a sentence. It says, wandering like the moon on water. And that was something that I always held close to me. And I would say, you know, as a descriptive of what I would do, the moon drifting, the light of it, the reflection, it's like your subconscious illuminating what's true, what's not on your path. So I see this character as just wandering in her moonlight on water and seeing these little bunnies, coming up, but they might just hop away just as fast. And she, chin high, just ready to wander into the unknown. And I think it's just a beautiful depiction of the card.
It's beautiful. It's that I love how Lee really makes, there's so much glowing in this deck. And
Mm-hmm.
I love how he does that with what's his medium, do you know?
I believe it's watercolor and Photoshop mostly.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely beautiful. Another card that you
Another
like a lot?
card, I really love the sun. So the moon, also the sun. I think it's the glowing light. So in
Hmm.
the previous card, you could kind of feel a more sensitive energy, and this one is so warm. And the
Hmm.
sun is such a yes card in the deck. And when you see it coming behind the mountain and the character standing there, just like this is the way, it kind of feels like the warmth that comes like if you're outside camping or something, or in the morning, and then the sun rises, and it's just like from so cold to so warm. I just feel that in this card, and I think it really is a very positive card with the glow, the light.
It is beautiful. And I love how it's, like you said, it's peeking out from behind the mountain
Mm-hmm.
as if, you've been on this journey and maybe it seemed like you weren't going to see the sun and suddenly it comes shining through and illuminating the entire valley with its warm light. It's absolutely magical and beautiful. And you can really put yourself in that card. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another card that you really like?
Yes, I love how you said that too. I think, yeah, that's a perfect description of the card. Another card that I really like, I mean, I love all of them, but I also really like the High Priestess. Um, this one, so the High Priestess sometimes gets known for her a little bit of a cold nature. This one, I like that she's nurturing this moon, that she's holding it, that maybe she doesn't have the most excited expression, but the High Priestess rarely does. But
Right.
she's more just very in touch, very sure she's closing her eyes. She knows that this is the truth. And she's wrapped up in all the greenery, and it's just with the crown on her head and everything. I think it's a really great depiction of the high priestess in her solitude, in her inner knowing she can nurture that.
I love how you brought the Rider-Waite-Smith moon that's beneath her feet up to being center stage, and rather than having, the scrolls of the material world, you have the moon being the keeper of the secrets, the one that, she puts her secrets in, and that light is the illumination. That's just so beautiful. Absolutely
Absolutely.
beautiful. Again, the
Yeah.
moon is just glowing. It's lovely. Wonderful. So what do you hope that people experience with your deck?
I hope that people experience the fool's journey. So to be able to get back to the inner child within, and to see the storybook, to feel the emotions of that are in the heart, in the body, that have been there since childhood and reawakened through these cards, like the wander, the wonder, the whimsical nature, and hope. um, I think there are a lot of cards that I mean, there are just so many different types of cards. So there are some that are geared more towards a darker image. There are some that are more traditional, some that go off completely on their own, right? I think these ones take a little bit of the traditional and a little bit of the unique story that's within the fool's journey, with it, which is within the human journey from childhood, and how you can bring that with you through all different phases. So I hope that it brings more connection to the reader, and that they can learn maybe a different viewpoint of the card. Maybe if they see the death card, it won't bring about a negative energy, but more of a what's really going on here, and not to be afraid of the cards or afraid of what the cards may tell you, but to, if there is something that upsets you, that you'll be comforted, and that you'll know that there's a guide and someone else that is probably going through something similar. It's within the cards. So I think it's um, something that the reader will be able to see their own journey within the journey of the fool, of through the tarot cards.
I love that. I do think that's one of the things that the tarot helps us to understand, is that the human journey is a human experience, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever we're experienced, it might be slightly different than that what other people experience, but it's all kind of along similar themes and cycles, and that things go on. That the death card is not the end card, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just the beginning to the next part of the journey. That's lovely. I really like that.
Yeah.
So after the Kickstarter, will your deck be available on your website?
Yes, we're going to make it available. Um, we have a website. I'm not sure of the name of it right now. It will be
Okay.
available on our website, Lee's website, and as long as we have it.
Excellent. And we'll post those
Yeah,
links down below on the video so that everybody can
perfect.
click on the links and get the deck. But please do support the Kickstarter if you are able to. And this deck is absolutely beautiful and very much worth supporting. So, Grace, can you tell us a little bit about what your tarot reading process looks like when you sit down to read for yourself or someone else?
Sure. When I sit down to read for myself, I always set an intention. For others as well. However, with myself, I set an intention, and I'll make it very clear. So, why am I sitting down with the cards? Um, if I'm sitting down to find clarity regarding where my focus should be during the day, what I should focus on, then I'll say, I intend to become more clear on my focus. And then I'll create that into a question while I'm shuffling the cards. And I'll say, what do I need to know about my focus today? Or what do I need to focus on the most today for the greatest success? And I'll just go through the cards. Then I split the cards in three. I rub my hands. I use my left hand to hover over the piles. And then one, I usually feel temperature change of some sort, and I'll know that that's the card. And I usually keep it to one card. So if I really am unsure and I don't get the clarity, then I'll go through the same process with the intentional question. And then I'll pull another card. However, I find that sometimes I don't need more cards than one, or else my mind will just start to pull out what I think I want to hear. Another very important thing is breath work. I usually do some mindful breathing before I start, so that I'm not just pulling off of emotion, that I'm not just like having anxiety in my gut or something, that I'm really focused and that I'm really streamlined with my breath and in the flow. I find that to be very helpful, along with setting the intention. And when I read for others, I'll take their question into mind, and then I turn their question into an intentional question. And then regarding how many cards, usually it's either one card, three card, five card, and I will do the intentional question for each card in the spread.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing that. Well,
sure.
usually I would ask you what's next for you, tarot-wise or creative-wise, but it sounds like you
Mhm.
have your work cut out for you creating a 78 card deck out of the Major Arcana deck. But is there anything else
Yeah.
coming up for you or that you're working on creatively or tarot-wise that you'd like to share?
Well, right now I'm teaching a course called Healing Through Tarot, and that has been a wonderful community. I absolutely love your community on Facebook. That has
Mhm.
been so wonderful to join and see,
Oh, wonderful.
just like the amount of people who really do um, value what the cards have to say, and how it can be a tool of mindfulness, to sit down and do your breathing practice or yoga or journaling, and have that tarot deck with you to be a prompt. So I love that. I love creating the community. So I think right now, as the deck is creating itself and we're creating it, um, the Kickstarter community, the community on social media, I just am putting my focus and energy into the tarot community that we're all a part of, and we're all growing because it's awesome.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
you're
I,
welcome.
I hope that you support this deck on Kickstarter, and if you missed the video when it's already going on Kickstarter, and you can certainly find the deck then afterwards on your website, and I'll link those all below. Thank you so much for your time,
Perfect.
Grace. It was
Thank
wonderful to chat
you.
with you today. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.